In today's topic, we're going to talk about the 75-year-old statement Israel has the right to defend itself. Welcome, welcome to my channel. Assalamu alaikum. And a special thanks to friends that have returned and new friends as well. My name is Zafar. My friends call me Zaf. You can call me Zaf. Before I go into dissecting their statement, Israel has the right to defend itself. Yes, it does, but it does not have right to commit murder. Now, before I start dissecting this statement, I want to take you back, a few years back. Well, maybe more than a few years back to the time when I was a teenager. I was a full-time student in Waltham Forest College doing electronics. But that wasn't enough. I went, enrolled in East End College, evening classes, English A level. And bear with me, see how we're going to connect up or tally up with the Israel statement. Bear with me. Right, I strolled in, half a class full, gazed around, saw a few friendly, pretty faces. So, that's where I'm going to sit. That's a different story. Anyhow, the teacher standing there, he had written on the board, Mr. Lawson. God bless his soul. A couple of minutes later, the rest of the students came in. The class was full. And then he turned around and introduced himself. I'm Mr. Lawson. Before we start this lesson, we're going to do an exercise. Grab your pens, grab your paper. Boom. I had my pen and a paper. Then he looked around in the class, to see if everyone was ready. He goes, I want you to name the first thing that comes in your mind. So we all sitting there with our pens right next to the paper, like racers, Olympic sprinters waiting at the Olympic track for the gun to fire or the starting pistol to fire, and boom, they want to run, we want to scribble, be the first. Then he turned around and said, washing powder, and boom, I wrote down my answer, put my hand up, done. Then a few other students turned around and said done, but most of the class stayed quiet. Then he turned around, walked up to the blackboard, put down number 1, and he wrote down Daz. Wrote down number 2, put down Ariel. Wrote number 3, and he put others. Then he turned around and said, who put Daz? Boom. A lot of hands went up. Then he counted them, put a figure there. Then he said, who put Ariel? A few hands went up. So he counted them, put them down. Then the third, etc. He was spot on. He was spot on. He was spot on. It wasn't a magic trick. Simple, he explained. We are being bombarded by the Daz advertisement so much that subconsciously it's stuck in our head, followed by Ariel and the other ones. But Daz is at the top because of this continuous bombardment. So now, let's go back to the 75-year-old statement by Israel. Israel has the right to defend itself. Yes, that's where they stop. And that's where our guys don't step in and say, yes, Israel has the right to defend itself, but it does not have the right to commit murder. So that's what we really need to do. Our media people have to turn around every time they say Israel has the right to defend itself. We said agreed, but not murder. Now they've got the world all brainwashed into thinking, yes, they've got a right to defend themselves. They shoot an old woman outside her house. Right to defend herself. They shoot An old gentleman crossing the road. Boom. Right to defend itself. Don't shoot the baby in the cradle. Right to defend itself. Now, before the pro-Israelis start nodding their heads and saying I'm fabricating this, let's bring in some facts. 16th of July 2014, a small number of children between the age of 9 and 12 years old playing on the beach, minding their own business, playing in the beach, and boom, a missile comes and kills them. When the media ask them, the parrot fashion statement: Israel has the right to defend itself. But people on the looking at it from this side would turn around and say, that's wrong. Those children were not a threat. But if you look at it from Israel's point of view, they were a threat. And I'll explain why. They were a threat because they were enjoying freedom. They would get used to the freedom. And when they grow up, they would want freedom. They would want to give the freedom to their children. So they're a threat. They do not want them to grow up with freedom in their mind. How else they're going to keep them down? It's a very similar story to back in Asia, back into the last century actually. What was happening? The rich people in the villages and the farms always had servants. And if one of them or the parent of one of them put their child into school for education, they would sack the parent. So, oh no, your child can't go to school. And if you want to carry on working for us, you need to take the child out. Why? Why this enforcement? Because they knew when the child gets educated, they'll know their rights, and they would then be able to go into town and find work. And the next generation and the generation after that, where are we going to get servants? Or they would want more money. So let's stop it here. Kill it off. Don't let them go study. So this is what Israel is doing. They're thinking, if they get used to freedom, they would want more. So let's stop it here. Okay? So how do they stop it? Missile. Bang. They stopped it. Now, before the pro-Israelis say, oh, I'm fabricating all this up again, hang on a second. It's not just the Palestinians they pick on. They will pick on anybody else from any other country that steps in to turn around and say, oh, hang on, this is wrong. For example, let's go back to 27th of November 1981. Thomas Handel, a British photographer, student, was shot right in the head. Bang. Why? They did not want him taking photographs of the atrocities they were about to commit or were committed, or the photographs he had. Why else would you want to shoot a British student? Anyhow, when asked, oh, Israel has the right to defend itself, and shame on British government, they just kept quiet and accepted their answer. But it's not just the British government that accepts that answer. Now let's go into America. For example, in 2003, a young lady by the name of Rachel Corrie. Yes, Rachel Corrie. Yeah, Rachel Corrie decided to step in and stop the army bulldozer for knocking down a Palestinian family's house. She said they're pleading with them, don't, there's kids in there, there's family in there, why do you need to do that? What did they do? Boom, rolled over the bulldozer on top of her, killing her. When the media people asked, same answer, the parrot fashion answer. I think it's a Mr. Parrot that teaches them this. Israel has the right to defend itself. And what did the American government do? Shame on them. They accepted the explanation as well. I personally think until one of these leading politicians, loved member, doesn't get assassinated or killed in the process, they're not going to do anything about it. Seriously. And it's sad that we have to wait for one of these politicians' child to get killed. I mean, 32,000 dead, but they're not related to the Americans or the British, and they're not cared, they're not bothered. Now, they've been getting away with killing odd people here and there, and the world's been accepting them. The world has been accepting them. So now they've stepped up or stepped down, as you want to say. Well, they've gone below the belt in boxing, as they would say. They've gone below the belt, as they would say in boxing, and started a genocide. And how do they sell that? They can't turn around and sell it. Oh, we were defending ourselves. So what's the next best thing? Oh, it's not genocide. It's not genocide. So now they're brainwashing the world. It's not genocide. Wait a minute. Two people dead from a same killer. The FBI will turn around and say, serial killer. He's killed two people on two different incidents. 100 people dead. They would say, it's a massacre. 32,000. When are you going to say it's genocide? Or are you going to do what you did in Bosnia? Years later, they would turn around and say, that was a genocide. That was a genocide. It has to be done now. We cannot do anything about the past, but we can do something about it. What's happening tonight, or what's happening today, or what's been happening in the past 6 months. Now, let me tell the people that are sitting on the fence or are sleeping, wake up, wake up. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what religion you are, you're going to go and meet your creator. And when you meet your creator, the killers have no excuse. So let's not even go there. But the people that are sitting on the fence, when your creator asks you, what did you do when my children were being murdered? Sitting on the fence, it's a very poor excuse. Join me in making a positive difference. Support and subscribe this channel and forward it to what's in your contacts. In the next episode, I'm going to tell you a really exciting or really magnificent story about 3 buffaloes, 1 cunning fox, and a wicked wolf. And the moral of the story is divide and conquer. See you in the next video. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.